Good morning. I hear the lull. Everyone's got their coffee, ready to go for the day. Danjay, ING Medea, Luan Mankai J. I am Medea, and I am from Burwash or Kluane Lake Territory. And I get to be the MC for today. But in order to get us started, we're going to start with an opening prayer. So I'd like to invite Elder Ann Smith to provide our first opening prayer. Ann Smith from Kwanlin Dun First Nation. You can either take the okay. If we can get you to stand.
Good morning. I pray to the Great Spirit. I pray to our grandfather. I pray to our grandmother. I pray to the four sacred direction. I always ask our ancestors to come and join us and to be with us and to help us through this time. Great Spirit, I pray, Creator, that we show our gratefulness for our land, our mountains, our rivers, the lakes, the water. I pray for these wonderful gifts that they have given to us. I pray that these gifts will be here for the next 7 generations, so that they will live a good life as we did. I pray, Creator, that we will learn how to help each other in a good way by providing the support that's needed out there for what we have gone through as people, and just to keep trying and just keep going. I pray, Great Spirit, that we will learn these things and it will come to you. And this is what we ask for, because this is what's needed, is to have compassion within your heart, to help others in a good way without any questions, and do our best in moving forward. When we are faced with challenges, sometimes we have to learn how to be brave. This is what we ask our Creator and our ancestors, that we will learn how to be brave. This is what we ask for. We ask for strength. We ask for guidance. And I pray, Creator, that for our children in the community, so that help will go to them and we will learn how to be their voice also. And I pray, Creator, for our elders, so they will be here with us for a long time, and they do need support also. And the people that are on the streets, the ones that are having a hard time, we pray for good things to happen to them also, and also the answers will go to them too. I pray, Creator, for our leaders in our communities, our homes. so that they will be strong in moving forward. And they need the guidance also from the people. And this is what we do, is we provide that support to each other and to help each other in this way. I thank you, Great Spirit, for this beautiful day, as every day is beautiful. I thank you, Creator, for what you have given us today. Masicho Shonithan Miigwech.
Thank you. Shothan Kunchish. And to balance it out, since we're on the shared territory of Kwalindun First Nation and Ta'an Council, I'd like to invite Elder Ruth Massey to welcome us and to offer a prayer as well. Thank you.
Denja, Shukathan, good morning. My name is Ruth Massey, and I am the chair for Ta'an Council, Elders Council. Thank you for the opportunity to open your meeting in a good way. I would like to welcome you to the traditional territory of the Ta'an in which we share with Kwalindun First Nation. And I thank Elder Ann Smith for one of our prayers. I would also like to say thank you for the important work you have done. And I know many of the citizens are looking forward to hearing the outcomes of the many reports you've completed to bring us your final results and a lot of clarity to this summit for future considerations. The last 3 years hasn't been easy for anyone, as you know. So thank you for keeping us protected, safe, and informed continuously about the COVID pandemic. And we look forward to your final reports for going forward. I wish you all a successful summit. I would like to open with prayer as well. O Great Spirit, our Creator, we thank you for the beautiful day that you have provided us and for bringing the delegates to this summit safely. I ask you to share your wisdom and support for everyone that has worked so hard collaborating together for a brighter future for all of us coming through the COVID pandemic. They come together to share their lessons learned. I also ask you to share your love and support to the ones that need your help the most today and keep them out of harm's way. Creator, we are thankful for all you provide, the animals, the birds, the fish, the fresh air that we breathe, the clean water we drink, and the food that has been provided for us. Creator, we are truly blessed. Shonithan Gudishchis. Amen.
Oh, here's some gifts for you guys. The presentation of gifts. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is the best podium ever because it's got a step stool for us short people. I'm glad I don't have to stand at the podium right now. I'm going to move things around a bit because we do have our Kwalindun First Nation Chief, Sean Smith, who is going to do a welcome remark. So, Sean, I'd like to welcome you up to give us a welcome to your traditional territory. Do some opening comments. Yeah, it's got a stool for you. Okay.
Pretty high up here. In Cleo Shokathan, Gamesothan Yaketutat, Ayinji, Uyena Sachi Uye, Gajunk E. Sean Smith Uye, Aguni each Kwanlan Kuchan each Tagish Kwan each Kwanlan dun Nathea da each Shun. So I introduced myself in this morning. My traditional name is Wiena Sachia. My English name is Sean Smith. And I am Wolf Clan, and I'm from the Kwanlin area. I was born and raised here. And this special place that we call Whitehorse now. And so, yeah, good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. Welcome to our traditional territory that we share with the Ta'an, with our relatives, the Ta'an Kuchan people. Our history, especially reflected in this space that shows history, that shows culture, shows tradition, a way of living. This stool is really bothering me right now. So. I'm a little shorter. I'm below average size in terms of height. Yeah, and yeah, it's a special place that carries our history, our culture, and a number of those different things. And and it's the things that we look upon, that we show our children, that we show our people, our visitors that come here to the Yukon. How special the Yukon is. And when we look at, the world, and sometimes when we're, during the pandemic, we were sitting in front of our TV or the screens and watching what was happening around the world, like at that time. And it's just amazing how people, they're affected by so much more than just the virus, but so much that affected our different generations. I've worked with different levels of our community, including the small children in the schools and learning centers, and you see the effects everywhere. And those kind of things that these studies, basically looked at, identified these certain dynamics that's happening within our world, within our community, within our homes, within ourselves too. And so recovery from the pandemic, for me, like I'm really, and I'm like, just with the recent election, and people were just talking to people, they were just really, we want to come back together again. We want to come back together again like we did before. For First Nation people, First Nation communities, that's our fabric. That's our fabric that ties our families together, our community together. And so as we recover and move forward, it's going to be a number of different steps in terms of how we do that, how we bring things back together again. Similar to what colonization did to our communities. So kind of in that way, I think those steps that we can be mindful and thoughtful and caring, because it's really caring and understanding and having patience, because the pandemic definitely added more patience to my portfolio. So I just want to extend thank yous to the organizers and people to help put this event on. The governments of Canada and territorial, and extension to your moderator, the Mathia, or Miss Alatini. This morning she was like, as soon as she saw me, "Where's your mom?" And I heard her Grandma Lena in her voice. And I was like, I don't know where she is right this minute, but I could text her. And thank you to the wonderful elders from our traditional territories, Ann Smith, my mom, Amma, and then my auntie from Ta'an, Ganesh Chish, Ruth, for sharing your opening remarks and their prayers for today, and for each day for moving forward. So, with that, I'm gonna sign off here. You guys have a great day, and look forward to hearing some of the interesting findings that you guys have uncovered. So, Shish, Shonithan.
Ganeshish Shonithan. And in true balance fashion, we have a recorded message from Chief Amanda Lease of Ta'an Quatron Council.
There you go. Desanu Shokothan. On behalf of the Ta'an Council, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the traditional territory which we share in part with Kwamlandun First Nation. My name is Amanda Lease, and I am Chief of the Ta'an Council. We are a strong and resilient self-governing Yukon First Nation who, along with Kwamlandun, maintain our communities within Whitehorse and the surrounding areas. The COVID-19 pandemic has had lasting impacts on all of us throughout the globe. The last few years were life-changing, but only come back stronger. For Yukon First Nations, it was particularly hard. It is part of our culture to be close with our family and friends with social gatherings and celebrations. It was definitely a challenge. It is important to reflect and learn from our experience and move forward. I was inspired by Yukoners and their resourcefulness to work through the challenges we faced. Respect, resiliency, and kindness are just some of our core values. It is because of our hard work and diligence that we as a community were able to pull through those dark days together. I look forward to continuing to move ahead as a stronger Yukon as we walk the path towards recovery. I wish you the best with your event. Shoni Than. There you go. Desanu.
Chief Amanda. Our next recorded welcome is from our Premier, Ranj Pillai.
Hello, everyone. I'm Premier Ranj Pillai. Welcome to A Path to Pandemic Recovery, an event that will showcase the results from the Yukon COVID-19 Recovery Research Program. I wish I could be there in person to celebrate and learn with you all, but I'm in Dawson City right now to commemorate the 125th anniversary of the Yukon becoming a territory. The research findings you share and hear about today will support the needs of the Yukon as we continue to recover from the impacts of the pandemic, and as we look to future emergency response planning and coordination. In addition to addressing Yukon-specific information, needs about the pandemic, impact, and response, this program has highlighted and strengthened our capacity for locally driven research. Yukoners led 9 of the 10 projects. All teams included Yukoners in key roles, and 3 projects were led by or in partnership with Yukon First Nation governments and organizations. Thank you to all the researchers and their contributions to advancing knowledge and understanding in the North. Successfully completing this research at an unprecedented and challenging time was a huge accomplishment, and you have our government's deepest gratitude. We look forward to learning from the conversations that take place today, and while we all hope to avoid facing a challenge of similar magnitude, the impact in the coming years, we continue to look and plan ahead. Thank you to the Government of Canada for supporting this program. Without that generous contribution, this Yukon-driven and focused work would not have been possible. Best wishes to everyone for an engaging and fruitful day. Thank you.
Sheesh, Premier Pillai. And I'm sure they're all having fun in Dawson today. It's going to be a good one. Our next recording is from Minister Vandal, who's the minister responsible for these funds coming here. Thanks.
Shro Kwathani, hello and bonjour. I want to congratulate everyone who's been involved in this partnership, including Premier Pillai, Indigenous leaders from across Yukon, academics, delegates, and community members. I also want to recognize my friend and colleague, Dr. Brendan Hanley, who worked so closely with all of you through the pandemic as Chief Medical Officer. Today, we are joining partners from the Government of Yukon in reviewing and learning from the results of the Yukon COVID-19 Recovery Research Results Program. The program began back in November 2020 to gather the information needed to support Yukon's strategic recovery from the impacts of the pandemic. With $1 million in financial support from the federal government, the government of Yukon supported 10 project teams whose research addressed very specific items for the Yukon. 3 of these projects were led by or in partnership with Yukon First Nation governments and organizations. This showcases the importance of Indigenous-led research, Indigenous methods, and Indigenous knowledge, values, as well as perspectives. The federal government recognizes that funding for this research of the pandemic means we are better able to prepare for similar emergencies into the future. COVID-19 affects everyone differently. People's experiences range from no symptoms at all to minor aches and pains, to longer suffering and even severe illness and death. The research done in Yukon was wide-ranging, studying everything from the impact of the pandemic on frontline health workers, Yukon First Nations, youth, business people, teachers, healthcare professionals, and communities, to assessing its impact on mental health for First Nation youth. This important research will greatly inform both our pandemic recovery as well as in planning response scenarios for future health emergencies. I'm pleased that most of the research projects presented here today were led by or done in partnership with Yukon-based research teams. This demonstrates the importance of local research capacity and Indigenous-led and partnered research. These important projects increase our understanding of the social, cultural, environmental, economic, and health impacts of COVID-19. And most important is that this research is specific to Yukon, giving all of us a better understanding of how to deal with issues like this on a go-forward basis. Once again, thank you for everyone that was involved. You should be proud of this excellent work, as the research outcomes will support the territory's recovery and will give governments and Yukon First Nations and other sectors a pathway to prepare for other emergencies. Congratulations, miigwech, merci, and thank you.
Sheesh. So in order to get us going, that's the last of the dignitaries. I'm going to invite Sabrina Kinsella up to the podium to offer some welcoming remarks and an overview of the program intent for today.
Do I need maybe I need this. I'll just be tall. No. Sorry, I do need the podium to hold on to because I get a little nervous in front of crowds, so we'll start with that. First, I do want to thank Elders Ann Smith and Ruth Massey for opening this event, as well as Chief Smith for providing remarks, and Chief Lees for her recorded remarks, as well as Premier Pillai and Minister Vandal for their welcomes and their congratulations on the work that's led to today. I'm very excited to be here today. I was saying to someone, it's kind of like a reunion, seeing all these faces of, many people I know just on a regular basis, but also the research teams that, we've corresponded over the last few years and maybe had some Zoom calls here and there, but many of us haven't met before, so it's very exciting. Feels almost like a wedding or something. It's hard to believe that, it feels in some ways like the blink of an eye and in other ways like an eternity, that 3 years ago when we began talking about what we could do as the Office of the Science Advisor to support the government's response to the pandemic. And I want to give full credit to Dr. Ainsley Ogden, who holds the did I introduce myself? I'm the acting senior science advisor for Government of Yukon. Ainsley Ogden holds that position substantively, and it was her idea that to develop a research funding program so that we could address Yukon-specific needs in as far as the pandemic. As many people know, there are many, many research funding programs out there federally, but they don't always meet needs in terms of what our local questions are, or they may sometimes be challenging for us to access. Let's return to my notes for a second. So we recognize the gaps in the national research landscape, and we hope to develop a program that would answer questions about the impacts of the pandemic on Yukoners' mental and physical well-being, on our economy, our culture, and our society. So going beyond the direct physical health impacts to everything else that's impacted when society shuts down or the way we interact changes, et cetera. But we know, however, that in our context, as in many, it's not only the what of research that's important, but the how. The history of extractive, non-reciprocal research practices in the North has caused harm and eroded many people's trust in researchers. So in addition to inviting research on a broad range of themes, we wanted to ensure that we supported research that was locally driven and beneficial, and that recognized and prioritized the value of Indigenous methods, knowledge, and voices. Working with the invaluable guidance of the program leadership team, many of whom are here today, we developed and launched a program that first prioritized Yukon First Nations and Indigenous-led research, led by and with Yukon First Nations governments and organizations. Second, prioritized research led by or in partnership with other Yukon-based organizations, including nonprofit organizations, businesses, and other sectors. And finally, we kept space for relevant researcher-led projects, whether led by Yukon-based researchers or academics or those from other jurisdictions. And here we are today, preparing to hear from 10 research teams on topics ranging from youth mental well-being to trappers, from housing to entrepreneurs. As was mentioned in the officials' remarks, all 10 projects include Yukon-based team members, and 9 have Yukon organizations as leads or partners. And this includes 3 that were Yukon First Nations led, the first 3 on our agenda today. It's incredibly rewarding to see that the efforts of our office and the leadership team and all of the research teams have paid off, that we've been able to support research that provides important knowledge for pandemic recovery and future emergency planning. And it also demonstrates and strengthens our capacity for locally driven, locally relevant, and ethically conducted research. Looking back to understand how we were impacted, what went well, and what could have been better is essential to an informed path forward. So we hope today offers all participants a chance to learn, to share, to ask questions about where we've been these last few years and where we're going in the years ahead. We know that many of the lessons today will be helpful to the government of Yukon, and we hope the same is true across all of Yukon governments and sectors, that we can all benefit from the funding and the time invested in these projects. I don't want to keep you too long. Before I hand the mic over, since I'm not sure if I'll have a chance during closing today, I want to offer my appreciation to Monique Chatterton, who has led the work of our office to organize today's event. Monique has done an incredible amount of work to get us here, and I'd like to ask for a round of applause to acknowledge that effort. I don't know if, well, I'll turn it back to Thea, and hopefully I've covered everything she wanted me to. Thank you.
I need the step stool, so God. See, you can see me now. I'm just going to look at that. First time I've ever had to raise the mic. So I'm going to quickly run through the agenda, and I feel like it's a good time if you guys need to replenish your coffee. You guys are good for coffee? Always need more coffee. Yes, I know. I know that feeling. Okay, I'm just going to run through the agenda and do some housekeeping, and then we're going to get started with our panels. So the first thing is I want to acknowledge that Esther Bourdet from Yukon Graphic Recording is going to be doing graphic recording, and feel free to take images. That will be added to the report when the compendium is prepared. The yeah, so you're more than welcome to go over there. It is an excellent, I've been at a few conferences now where Esther is presenting, and it's so nice to see that graphic presentation of what everyone's talking about. And it really helps with recall of the event. So really appreciate your talents. Thank you. Housekeeping, bathrooms are at the back on the left of the bar. There's also bathrooms on the second and first floors. If you need to just get some fresh air, there's a nice balcony out here, or there's a balcony on the side. No smoking or vaping on those balconies, please. And phones, if you can put your phones on silent, that would be great. You guys all know that this is being recorded, right? And if you do not feel prepared for recording, please let Sabrina or Monique know, and we'll make sure that you are not captured. As you heard, there's a lot of research that has been done, and the topic is COVID and how our communities have dealt with it. So this may bring up feelings that we've all had to deal with throughout the pandemic. So please reach out to the facilitators or organizers if you need additional support. And we have a list of supports that would be available if you need whatever kind of supports that you need. And I do want to acknowledge the organizers and the people who are going to do the breakout facilitation this afternoon. So I'm going to ask you guys to stand and give a wave so everyone knows who you are. Monique Chatterton. Yay. Thanks, Monique. Of course, Sabrina Kinsella. Yay. Thomas Meyer. Hi, Thomas. Sam Salter, Samantha Salter. Annie-Claude Letendre. Oh, okay. Aisha Montgomery. Thank you. Kayla Anderson. She'll be coming, okay. And then Bryce Stafford at the back. Yay. Thank you guys for stepping up and agreeing to help facilitate these breakout groups in the afternoon. So just to go through the agenda quickly. Oh, and I do want to acknowledge that Bridges Cafe is providing the catering and when you go up for your coffee. They do a great job and they support people who are in need of employment. So it's always a great thing to include them in your events. The morning, we're doing the panel presentations, and we've grouped them kind of thematically. So the first group is the First Nation led or First Nation grouped research projects. And then the second panel group of presentations is on, I'm going to refer to my notes, a mix of partnership-led, partnership-based, and researcher-led, and they're all wellness-related. So we tried to give a little bit of a theme. We're going to let them, each of the groups, do their presentations, and then we'll have a Q&A afterwards. So really encourage you to write down your questions as we're going through the panels. Then the lunch will be provided here. We get a lunch from 12:10 to 1:15. Also pretty nice outside, good to take a break. I know the downstairs, it's also, you're free to mill about. They are preparing for the 100th anniversary of the gold rush. I think it is 100th. Thank you, 120. I was like, that didn't add up, the math. 125. And so they're preparing a presentation downstairs, and you're more than welcome to take a look at that. The last group of panel presentations are right after lunch, and then we'll go into a breakout. So really want to utilize the hive mind here in the room to distill what we're hearing and give some direction to Yukon government about how all this research that we're collecting is going to be put into action. Because really, that's why you do research, right? You want to see change. So that is our afternoon.